Ever get that feeling walking into, like, a massive buffet?
Yeah.
So much good stuff, you kind of want to try it all, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't just pile it on your plate. You got to be strategic. Think about the dishes that really hit the spot.
Absolutely.
The ones you actually remember afterward. Well, that's what Carma Spence is talking about in Serve Up Your Book. It's like she's saying, stop treating book marketing like an afterthought. It's the whole darn buffet.
And what's so refreshing about Spence's approach is she really gets it. She understands that authors, we pour our hearts into these books, and the last thing we want is to see them languishing on some digital shelf.
Right.
Oh.
Because it's not just about getting the book out there. It's about making sure it actually lands in the hands of readers who are going to love it.
Exactly. And that's where the whole serving it up metaphor comes in. She wants authors to think like chefs, crafting an irresistible experience for their readers.
Okay, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But let's be real for a sec. This whole chef and marketing thing, it can feel kind of overwhelming, right? Especially when you're already knee-deep in the writing process.
Oh, absolutely. And Spence totally acknowledges that. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She's very upfront about the fact that authors need to be both creators and entrepreneurs.
Okay, so no more build it and they will come mentality. We got to be our own hype squad.
Pretty much. But the good news is Spence provides a roadmap, a framework for approaching book marketing in a way that feels manageable, even exciting.
All right, so walk me through it. What's step one?
Well, before you even think about marketing, Spence says you got to make sure your book idea is actually, launch ready.
So it all starts with the idea itself.
Exactly. And she has this brilliant concept she calls the 4 pillars of a marketable book: purpose, passion, possibility, and peerless.
Purpose, passion, possibility, and peerless. Okay, break that down for me. What exactly does that mean?
So think of it like this. Purpose. Does your book have a clear reason for being? Passion. Are you fired up about this topic? Then possibility. Is there an audience for this? And finally, peerless. Will it stand out from the crowd?
So like a checklist to make sure your idea has what it takes to make an impact.
Exactly. It's about being honest with yourself. If your book idea doesn't tick all those boxes, it might be time to go back to the drawing board.
And that's okay. It's better to realize that early on than to pour your heart and soul into a project that's not quite ready for prime time.
100%. It's about setting yourself up for success from the get-go.
Okay, so let's say we've got our 4 pillars nailed down. We're feeling good about the book idea. What's next on Spence's marketing menu?
Well, Spence talks about becoming a target audience trailblazer, which sounds kind of badass, right?
Target audience, trailblazer. I like the sound of that. It's way more exciting than just saying, know your audience.
Right. It's about going deeper. Instead of just scratching the surface with demographics, Spence wants us to really understand the hopes, fears, and desires of our readers.
Okay, so paint me a picture. How do we actually go about becoming a target audience trailblazer? Where do we even begin?
Think of it this way. Imagine you're hosting a dinner party.
Okay, I love a good dinner party analogy.
Exactly. So you wouldn't just ask your guests if they generally enjoy food, right? You'd want to know their absolute favorite dishes, what they can't stand, any allergies, the whole 9 yards.
Right. You want to create an experience that's tailored to their specific tastes.
Yeah.
Make them feel seen.
Exactly. And it's the same with our books. We need to understand what our readers are hungry for. What are their pain points? What solutions are they seeking? What keeps them up at night?
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we tap into that? I mean, are we supposed to be, psychoanalyzing our readers?
Well, not exactly. Spence suggests spending time where our target audience hangs out. Online forums, social media groups, you name it.
So it's about eavesdropping. In a non-creepy way, of course.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
We're looking for patterns in their conversations. What questions are they asking? What topics get them fired up?
I'm getting it. It's like we're doing reconnaissance for our book, gathering intel on our ideal readers.
Exactly. And Spence even suggests utilizing AI tools to help us with this.
AI. Like robots reading our readers' minds. Okay, now you're just messing with me.
Not quite robots, but close. There are programs out there that can analyze online data and pinpoint trends within specific demographics.
So it's like having a super-powered research assistant who can process information at lightning speed.
Pretty much. Which frees us up to focus on what we do best, writing awesome books.
Okay, so we've got all this amazing intel on our readers. But how do we translate that into an actual book, something marketable?
That's where Spence's brand promise comes in. It's basically a 1-sentence statement that captures the essence of who you are as an author, what you write, and who you serve.
So it's like my mission statement as an author, the thing that sets me apart from everyone else.
You got it. It's about clarity and focus. And the good news is Spence provides a handy-dandy template to help us craft our brand promise. She suggests using this format, author name, writes books for, to help ideal readers accomplish a goal through genres or topics.
I like it. It's like a recipe for a killer author brand.
Okay.
So to recap, we've assessed our idea with the 4 pillars, we become target audience trailblazers, and we've crafted our brand promise. Feels like we're laying a solid foundation for our book, right?
Absolutely. It's all about being strategic and intentional from the get-go.
Love it. Okay, so the foundation's set, we're feeling good, but now what? What about marketing while we're actually writing the darn thing?
Well, this is where Spence's restaurant analogy really comes into play. She talks about being both the chef and the maître d'.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Break that down for me.
So while we're busy in the kitchen, crafting our stories, we also need to be thinking about the customer experience, creating a buzz.
Okay, so we can't just be holed up in our writing caves, ignoring the outside world. Got it. But how do we do both? I mean, writing a book is a full-time job on its own.
Right, and that's why Spence emphasizes the importance of building our author platform. Specifically, she's a huge proponent of owning our space online.
So, like our website and social media.
Yes. But Spence is actually even more passionate about email lists.
Really? Email lists, I feel like those are a dying breed in the age of Instagram and TikTok.
You'd be surprised. Spence argues that email is far from dead. In fact, she cites a study that found for every dollar spent, email marketing yields an average return of $36.
$36 for every dollar invested. Okay, now I'm listening. So, how do we convince readers to sign up for our email lists? Especially if our book isn't even finished yet.
That's the million-dollar question, right? Spence calls it offering valuable incentives.
Valuable incentives, huh? So, like what? Give me some examples.
Well, think about what your target audience would find irresistible. Maybe it's a sneak peek of the first chapter, a character profile, or even a deleted scene.
Ooh, I like that. A little behind-the-scenes action.
Exactly. It's about offering something valuable in exchange for their email address.
So it's like we're giving readers a little taste of what's to come, getting them hooked early on.
Exactly. And once they're on our list, we can nurture that relationship, offer more exclusive content, updates on our writing progress, that kind of thing.
Brilliant. It's like we're planting seeds while we're still writing the book. So by the time it's ready to launch, we've got a whole garden of eager readers.
I love that analogy. And speaking of launching...
Okay, so we've got our 4 pillars. We've found our target audience trailblazers. We're building our email list.
Yeah.
Bring on the launch party, right?
Almost. Spence talks about this phase as serving up the appetizers, building anticipation.
Ooh, like giving readers a little taste of what's to come. I like it.
Exactly. She's big on strategic cover reveals. Like, don't just plop the whole thing out there, make it an event.
Speaking of events, didn't she have a whole thing about cover reveals? I seem to remember a 3-step process.
Spot on. It's all about building that buzz. First, tease it. Maybe show just a corner, get people guessing. Then, bam, full reveal. Ask for opinions, get people talking. Finally, and this is key, once they're hooked, that's when you make that purchase link live.
It's amazing how calculated it all is. Makes you realize how much thought goes into every little detail.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what sets successful authors apart, that attention to detail. Spence is all about making each interaction count, turning it into a memorable experience for the reader.
Okay, so the appetizers are served, the excitement is bubbling, it's launch day. Now let's talk parties. Are those big launch parties, like, actually essential?
Spence gets it. She knows those aren't for everyone, especially us introverted author types. She actually suggests some pretty cool alternatives, like events that really play into your book's theme.
Ooh, so like, if my book is historical fiction, I can have a launch event at a museum. Or if it's a cookbook.
Exactly, partner with a restaurant. She even mentioned a client who launched a 70s-themed book at, get this, a vintage clothing store.
That's brilliant. Totally immersive. See, this is why we love Spence.
Yeah.
She just gets, okay, launch is done. Books are, hopefully, flying off the shelves. What about keeping up the momentum? How do we avoid that post-launch slump?
Right. We can't just rest on our laurels. This is where Spence's chef analogy really hits home. She reminds us, just like a chef can't expect a full house every night just because they had one killer opening night.
You got to keep cooking up delicious content.
Exactly. Keep that email list engaged. Look at things like book trailers, even speaking gigs at conferences, you name it. It's all about staying visible.
Love it. So we've traded the buffet plate for a multi-course meal. Keep it fresh, keep it engaging.
Exactly. And I think that's a perfect note to wrap up on. Spence's Serve Up Your Book is more than just a marketing guide. It's a mindset shift.
Totally agree. It's about treating your book like the masterpiece it is, and then crafting a dining experience, so to speak, that will have readers coming back for seconds.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the delicious world of book marketing with Carma Spence. Now, excuse me, all this talk about food has got me craving a 5-course meal.